once a little girl named Regina. She lived in San Myshuno with her parents, but often went to Willow Creek to visit her grandfather. She adored her grandfather Joe and wanted to spend as much time with him as possible. Their favorite pastime was to fish, although Regina never caught anything. Grandpa Joe took part in Regina's favorite pastime and took selfies, although he really didn't understand it. The best part of her grandfather's home was his attic. He was a collector, and in his travels, he amassed a great selection. One day, he told her about a new item that he had collected. It was a clown painting he had picked up from Selva Dorada. She went to look at the painting and was so hypnotized by it that she had summoned an evil clown that would wreak havoc on her life. Something that would stalk her and never leave her alone. The next night, Regina and Grandpa Joe went to Chez Llama as they heard a new dessert was added to the menu. They would go there often to talk about Regina's day. It was always a good time when they went out. A couple days later, Regina was at a festival and had a great idea for her grandfather's birthday. She had just finished her lunch when a man approached her asking for directions to the train. He introduced himself as Bozo Benny. They struck up a conversation, and he stated that he owned a small traveling circus troupe. Regina thought that would be perfect for her grandfather's 70th birthday. They spoke on the details, and Regina stated she would get back to him. It was Christmas time, and Regina was happy that everyone she loved was there to celebrate. Later, Regina met up with Benny to tell him that the plans had changed and her parents have decided on an intimate event. Bozo appeared to have understood Regina. It appeared. The next day, Grandpa Joe received word that the local museum had installed 2 art pieces, so they went to go check it out. The Violin of El Gato and Italia. Bozo entered the museum and started yelling at Grandpa Joe. He was irate and belligerent for no reason.
Shambo, Tarbe, Shabade, Yarel, Onaga, Farib, Simse, Hiraru.
Regina pulled Bozo aside and told him he had no right to yell at her grandfather. She really let him have it.
Plu, Oofas are soob.
Later that night, Bozo decided it was time for Grandpa Joe to be removed by any means necessary. Regina's mother received a call from the police stating that someone suffocated her father with a pillow. The news crushed Regina as memories with her grandfather flooded her mind. At her grandfather's will reading, it was stated that his house would be given to Regina, so the family packed up and moved out. Regina and her parents were all moved in. Her parents wanted to redecorate and update the house, but Regina didn't want to change a thing. As a surprise, her parents hung the very last piece of artwork that her grandfather had purchased in her room. They didn't realize how evil it really was. Regina had a tough time adjusting. She tried to do all the activities that her grandfather had done with her, trying to hold on to as many memories as she possibly could. Although it wouldn't bring her grandfather back, she still wanted to do it. After school, Regina went to the library to do some research for a paper that was due. She was focused on what she was doing and didn't notice Bozo when he sat down. She decided to ignore him as he was starting to creep her out. Even his behavior was questionable. Bozo saw that Regina was sad and wanted to cheer her up, so he made a special order for her. He went to Regina's house to tell her the good news. He thought that she would be happy, but instead Regina started yelling at him and wondered how he knew where she lived. She felt uneasy and just wanted him to leave her alone. If only she knew. Bozo had workers go to Regina's house anyway and install a small pool. At first, Regina thought that her parents had the pool installed, but they didn't. She decided to enjoy it until her favorite show came on. Her parents wanted to take a dip as well. That was until Bozo came by to see how Regina was enjoying his gift. But instead, he found her parents. There was a hot-cold feature on the side of the pool that he turned down, pulled a fence out of his pocket, and then left. Her parents ended up freezing to death within the hour. Regina found her parents' frostbitten bodies floating in the pool. She was beyond heartbroken and inconsolable. Until a thorough investigation could be done, Regina was sent to live in Oasis Springs with her Aunt Naomi. She told her aunt all that she had been through the last couple months. Regina was miserable and really missed her parents and her grandfather. It was almost as if she was cursed. She went to the library in Windenburg, since they had ancient scripts, and looked up common curses. She found a dozen articles about paintings cursing homes and people's lives. She remembered the last painting that her father had brought from Selva Dorada. There were multiple murders that had the painting in the background. It was Bozo. She was walking home, contemplating on whether she would confront him. However, when she went inside, she noticed someone swimming in the pool. It was Bozo. Regina knew what she had to do. She saw his clothes on the floor, pulled out a fence from his pocket, and trapped him. He was furious and started to call her names. Regina didn't let him get in her head. He killed her grandfather and her parents. His killing had to end. It all had to end. Regina told him that he would suffer the same way his victims did, and there was nothing he could do about it. And so, he did.